Time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Lee Sanders here, coming at you right here in Washington, D.C. for this Saturday night of December 13th, 2025. We are minutes removed from WWE's Saturday night's main event on Peacock. It was streaming. I'm not going to lie to you guys because sincerely, some people, they'll fake it and they'll be like, no. I'm being totally honest with you guys. And my wife will tell you, I was bawling like a little baby. I was choking, just inside, outside. The emotions just came out of me. John Cena, thank you. Thank you for all the years of entertainment. Thank you for all the years of giving us some really great wrestling moments, but also at the same time giving us some really good life lessons. It's really crazy to believe, but as long as I've been doing this show, it didn't really dawn on me until a lot of the video packages that we were seeing and everything. But to just really wrap your brain around the fact that we've been watching this guy for almost 25 years. It's amazing how time just flies by. It really, really is, because it almost feels like it was yesterday that I first saw John Cena come into the WWE, talking what he has to offer to Kurt Angle as far as what he brings to the table, the whole ruthless aggression. And it's amazing how just bam, there's a favorite Led Zeppelin song that I really, really love. It's called 10 Years Gone. But again, we're talking about somebody here that has been around, that we've watched for almost 25 years. Just really stop and think about that. You essentially had kids that were either born around when John Cena started, or you had kids that were somewhere between 5 to 10. And then, like, some of those people essentially grew up and they had kids of their own. So we're talking about a situation where John Cena has essentially kind of raised or gone through 2 to 3 generations of families when it's all said and done. It's mind-boggling when you stop and think about it. I'm representing for one night only, longtime listeners that have been with me for years. Rare you will see me in, actually this is the first time ever that I am in John Cena gear. Normally I wear wrestling memorabilia on the shows from time to time. I actually purchased all of this a year ago. And my plan was to never bust it out. But I said, nah, you know what, man? He's retiring. This is going to be his final match. I got to represent. So for one night only, one stream only, you guys got me in the full John Cena gear. We got to pay it forward. We got to pay the ultimate respect to John Cena and everything. I hope you guys' weekend is off to a fantastic start as we are very close to Christmas. Yo, DC, did we represent or did we represent? 19,000 plus at the Capital One Arena tonight. Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I hope everybody that was at the event and is going to be traveling from it, I hope you all get where you need to safely. And this goes out to you guys. If you saw the event in person, you are more than welcome to share your thoughts, be it live or maybe after you get situated. You checking this out on demand on the downloads, definitely sound off. Let me know your thoughts about the event. Now, for those of you that's in the surrounding parts, I saw some interesting tidbits of news during tonight's Saturday night's main event, which is downtown DC. There, it looks like just off of Gallery Place, Chinatown, pretty much. So just right around the corner from the Capital One Arena, WWE is actually gonna continue on their John Cena Last Time Is Now store, right? So it's really cool how they got this set up. They had it pretty much, I think it was at play maybe since Friday, definitely Saturday it was at play, but I kind of feel like maybe it might have been opened up on Friday, but it's going to be open Sunday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And you can get yourself all kinds of John Cena memorabilia. Definitely, you're going to be able to get some stuff that is not available online. I just happened to browse online before the start of the event, and let me tell you something, man. They had some pretty good stuff on there. I was actually able to find a Last Time Is Now tumbler. I also was able to find a really cool Saturday night's main event Washington D.C. shirt that had Cena on it. The Saturday night's main event. I forget what's on the back, but they put something on the back. Maybe they put a Saturday night's main event on the back of it. The design it looks really really good. It's on a black shirt, and they've got Cena in this kind of gold tint, kind of monochrome thing that's going on. It looks really, really badass. Check it out. Now, if you were to ask me, would you get those items in time for Christmas? It doesn't look like it, so be prepared. Because I know, for example, the tumbler that they got available, that is a special event item. So you already know what the deal is when it comes to that and everything. And shout out to Kevin in the chat. Yes, we got to talk about that. I have never seen a man so vilified before in my entire life in the game. Triple H, Paul Levesque. God damn, did DC we don't give a fuck. When it comes to out here in DC, we just don't give a fuck. We let our voices be known, and yeah, we did not give a fuck about Triple H, Paul Levesque tonight. For those of you that didn't watch Saturday night's main event, John Cena did the one thing that we never thought we would see Cena ever do, at least this incarnation of Cena, which is never give up. And John Cena lost to Gunther in the middle of the ring. He tapped out. But, like, just the way in which John Cena tapped out, I can tell you because when you talk to us DC fans, the vast majority of us DC fans, we know our wrestling history. We pretty much know like the behind the scenes stuff. We're smarten up fans. Very seldom here in the DC metropolitan area will you come across a wrestling fan that'll be like, "Oh, did that really happen?" Or, "Oh, wow, like," and those that do kind of talk like that, they're relatively young. Like they don't listen to the podcasts. They don't know anything about wrestling podcasts. They haven't bothered. Like they don't have that one friend that's smartening them up. Like, but the majority of us fans out here in DC, we know our stuff, right? We could talk wrestling history. We could talk about when WCW was doing their thing out here. And depending on how far back you go, we even got some old schoolers that will talk about the old school days, corporate championship wrestling, and everything like that. So, in this particular case, though, the biggest problem that I had, and I think a lot of people are going to have with how John Cena got sent off into the sunset, is the fact that he just nonchalantly tapped out. I mean, my God, John Cena must have did not one AA, not two AAs, not even three AAs. This dude had to do like at least 4 to 5 attitude adjustments. And just when you think, okay, yeah, Cena's, at least after the third AA, you're going, Cena's got this in the bag now. No, did not happen. Gunther somehow kicked out. And each time he's kicking out, for me, the adrenaline is just, I'm yelling at the TV. I'm going, but after the third AA, I said to my wife, I said, yeah, this one's over. Gunther's going to get this. Like, he's going to get this. And sure enough, Gunther, and I love the psychology that was played out there, man. You had Gunther slapping on that chokehold from behind, and Cena is just struggling, and he's like trying to come to his feet. He's trying to, you know, get the will of the people in his favor and everything. And he musters up enough energy and just boom, sends Gunther into the corner back first. He gets freed. Okay, great. Gunther slaps it right back on him again. Rinse, repeat. And you're like, you're like, come on, Cena, come on, Cena, come on. And then you had like a third attempt where Cena manages to fight off Gunther. He's trying to look for the attitude adjustment. Gunther reverses it, slaps that bad boy right on him, and you're just like, yeah, no way, no how. This is definitely over. Like, there's just no way Cena's going to be able to get out of this. And I started thinking to myself, maybe John Cena is going to just pass out. And there you go. Gunther gets the win, but he never made John Cena give up. John Cena's eyes open clear as day, and we just see. Look, I love Cena. I love Cena. He's actually one of my Twitter followers, believe it or not. No, I have not slid into his DMs. Okay, I know he is a fan of certain podcasts. I don't know if he's checked out my show over the years. I bet you I could find out though if I really wanted to. I know a couple of people I could find out, but I got to give it to Cena straight between the eyes. Like, Cena, you got to watch that match back, man. You got to watch those final seconds back, because for you to just nonchalantly raise your hand and just tap like, I don't know, yeah, I think I'm done with that sandwich. I think I'm gonna go upstairs and lay down now. Ooh, I think I'm getting a little bit of heartburn. Ooh, I think it was the chili. I mean, literally, this is how John Cena's just tapping out. And it's like, what the fuck is that? It was lame as I don't know what. Left a very bitter taste in my mouth. Um, I've seen my fair share of submission holds and tap outs. That was the weakest fucking tap out of tap outs of all time. The other thing that was really annoying about this match, John Cena and Gunther yelling audibles at each other, and it was just annoying the hell out of me. Whoever was in the back, technical directors, they really should have been doing a better job telling their cameraman, look, if you're in a position where you're able to see these guys' mouths, like, hurry up and switch. Oh, speaking of switching, my camera just zoomed in there. Sorry about that. You got a situation where, like, if you, as a cameraman, if you're immediately going to an angle where you can see their mouths and you're starting to see them mumble something, hurry up and just switch to another angle, move so we don't like get an idea that, oh, these two are actually having a conversation of what spots they're going to be doing next. Too many times, clear as day, we were seeing mainly Cena, and we've seen him do a lot of this crap over the years, but I mean, it was really on full display tonight. That was just irking me the hell out. I mean, otherwise, it was a good match, but a lame ass finish when it was all said and done. And I'm going to tell you my first real reactions when I saw Cena tap out the way that he did. First thing I uttered was bullshit. And I followed it up with, we're really going to have him go out like that. Like that. All I could think about was the whole hustle, loyalty, respect, but just the whole never give up. I actually watched the countdown to Saturday night's main event, which, by the way, everybody involved on the production side of WWE, fantastic with the countdown special. Big E doing a phenomenal job. I'm trying to think who else was part of the whole set. I know at one point, Sami Zayn came on by. Joe Tessitore was doing it as well. Triple H, Paul Levesque. This was obviously before the main event. Triple H got a lot of love from us here in DC, right down to the point. We were chanting to him, spit the water, spit the water. Like he never spit the water, right? But I'm sure that kind of made him feel good, regardless that, hey, Paul Levesque, Triple H is in the house. Okay, great. Like, hey. Uh, but it was a great countdown show that they did where they showed all these great John Cena little tribute packages. And if you went out of your way to watch that before the main show, man, you really got so damn emotional when you saw the montage they did of fans that went up to various microphones set up at different arenas, like out on the streets or whatever. And fans were basically, if they wanted to, they could just walk up to the mic and give their thoughts about John Cena and his career. And, if you want to just, hey, Cena, thank you for the memories, da, 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 then you could do that. It was a great little montage that they did for like about maybe 4 minutes, showing various fans. There was one woman that talked about how she came from like Italy or Rome to try to see John Cena's last match and all that. You're like, wow. So you had people coming from all over the world to come see John Cena and everything. Like, that's badass. And then where your emotions really get tugged. Tell me I'm lying. Okay? If I'm lying, I'm dying. But you had this great segment that they followed up after that where they talked about how, like, over 600 and something wishes, make a wishes, that John Cena has done in his entire career. More than any athlete, any entertainer, he holds the number one record and everything. And they tell you this heartbreaking story about this one young man that sadly he passed away a couple of years ago at the age of 21, 22 ish. But he was a huge wrestling fan, a huge John Cena fan, and it was pretty much his wish to see John Cena. Now, when the pandemic went down, the COVID pandemic went down, John Cena sadly wasn't able to meet this young man face to face, but he did a remote thing, that this kid was able to see and everything. And like I said, sadly, he didn't make it, right? But you're just the totality. I'm bringing all this up because the totality of just everything. And then when you get lost in your own feelings as a fan, I know for me personally, and it takes a real bigger person to admit this, but I used to be the John Cena fan when, and I'm sure everybody else is going to be like, Lee, that was me as well. I started off going, wait a minute, who is this guy with these trunks? And okay, he's beating the hell out of Kurt Angle. Okay, he's got an interesting look. I don't really know. Not sure. Kind of generic. Maybe a flavor of the month for a couple of months. I don't really see anything else. But then we get the rapping John Cena. And it was like, yo, this dude is fucking money. This is okay. All right. Bet. None of us could have told you way back then that this guy was going to be the face for so many years, that he was going to be a multi-time world heavyweight. Anybody that would have been like, oh no, I saw it the minute I first laid eyes on it, like BS. They're lying, okay? But we went through that period where we were on that great roller coaster of a fun ride with Cena. But then we got to that period where it became the Super Cena show. How fam, let me ask you something. How convenient is it that back in the day when it was the Super Cena show and we used to be livid? I remember when I started this show way back in 2011. And at that time, it was still the Super Cena show. And some of my colleagues that were involved in the wrestling podcasting world then, no longer with us now, I can remember them doing Google Hangouts before it was YouTube and Zoom, and StreamYard and all these other. It was just Google Hangouts. And I can remember the colleagues from back then that would do an entire 90-minute, 2 hour, 3 hour show just ripping the fuck out of John Cena because he won yet again. They used to title their episodes, Super Cena, screws your favorite wrestler again. Right? It was Triple H and the shovel, but then we got to a point where it was the Super Cena show. Okay? It was some of the most hilarious stuff. Even myself back then in the podcasting world, I felt a certain way about John Cena. I was like, oh man, like this dude, oh God, does he always have to win? How about putting some other people, putting them in a nice position, building them up, elevating, da 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 da. Nobody was trying to hear all that though. If I wasn't doing like my friends were doing, my colleagues were doing, like, nah, you're not sensationalizing enough. You're not. I'm going to move on somebody else. Where I started turning the corner, though, on Cena, started appreciating him, looking at him in a different light. And I think most people, I know for a fact, most people were in the same mindset as well, was when Cena had the United States Championship and he started doing those open challenges. Then it was, okay, maybe we kind of got it wrong here with Cena. Well, or maybe the guy finally seen the light. It's like, oh, okay, this is all right, cool. So many mixed emotions I personally have when I just think about the very first time I saw John Cena, the different incarnations of Cena through the years to where we are now. And my God, I never thought I would amplify what I'm about to say more and more, but I just go, man, Vince McMahon, if it wasn't for the scandal, he would have had a better retirement tour for John Cena. He would have had a better, proper send off for John Cena. As far as the match outcome, I really want to make sure that this is stressed. Gunther, great job. Cena, great job. They put on a classic match. And I mean, not for nothing, but if you really kind of take a step back and you think about this, not for nothing, this was probably like, if not the second longest match, definitely the longest match that Cena had since he announced his retirement tour. These boys went at it pretty damn long, right? And they utilized every single minute of it, playing up to the crowd, working the crowd really good. Oh my God, nothing warmed my heart more than hearing the DC crowd, say fuck you, Gunther, and call him an asshole. I loved it. I ate it up. It was good stuff. It's the kind of heat that you want to give this guy, right? That means he's doing his job. He's doing it well. I loved it on every single standpoint. From every single standpoint, the match played out exactly how I thought it was going to go down. But to Kev's point in the chat, the tap out was weak. It was weak sauce. I almost want to change the thumbnail, and I think I will. I think I'm going to change the thumbnail of the show to just that lame ass tap out and the blank look that John Cena had going on there. So many mixed emotions I had during that. Also, not for nothing, I couldn't help but for some weird reason, I was thinking about the Hulkster. For some weird reason, I was thinking about Hulk Hogan, and I just randomly, as I was watching this match, I said, wow, to think the last time that the Hulkster was in a WWE ring, he got booed out of the damn arena. And that pretty much, like, that's what fans are left with. That's what he ultimately was left with. And there was also a part of me that was going, man, there was a part of me that kind of wished Hogan was still alive, because it would have been great to hear his thoughts on John Cena and everything that he accomplished, and hearing where the Hulkster essentially ranks John Cena as far as wrestling Mount Rushmore. You know what I really wasn't a fan of? First time I'm saying this. Don't like saying this. I wasn't a fan of Jesse the Body Ventura. So yeah, if you did not watch the Countdown show, you would have missed Jesse the Body Ventura. And you know what? Normally I'm pro Jesse. I found myself going, yeah, it's good that we had Jesse on the Countdown show. Let me explain to you the reason why in a nutshell. Not once, but twice. Jesse put down John Cena, right? You're supposed to be giving this guy his flowers. And not once, but twice, Ventura goes to the well and saying, yeah, but you know what my problem is with John Cena? He might have been a 17-time World Heavyweight Champion, but that means he lost the championship 17 times as well. So he's a 17-time loser. And it's like, dude, dude, really? You're supposed to be selling the living out of. And it was just so cringe watching Joe Tessitore and Big E with the nervous laugh. Everybody knows the nervous laugh. You're at that party, function or whatever, and somebody says something that kind of makes you feel a little uncomfortable. You don't want to be like, okay, Grandpa, that's all right. Go, enjoy the apple pie. Go have the sandwich and warm glass of milk. Let us just be over here talking, right? You don't want to be disrespectful, right? Especially to the elderly. But I wish one of them would have been like, okay, yeah, to your point, Jesse, because this is how you could have shut him up the first rodeo, and basically force him to try actually giving the guy his flowers, selling the main event between Cena and Gunther. You could have said something along the lines of, okay, yeah, he might have won the championship 17 times, Jesse, and lost it 17 times, but let's stop and really add full context to this. John Cena has been involved in WWE for almost 25 years, and that essentially means roughly this guy had a world heavyweight title every 1.5 years, max 2 years. Like, that's pretty damn good considering some people never become a world heavyweight champion. Some people, they win all other championships but the world heavyweight championship. That would have shut his ass down like real quick. So to WWE, if you're going to keep bringing back Jesse the Body Ventura, like, y'all know what you can expect. You know the guy essentially is going to go rogue, and he pretty much is just going to like shoot from the hip. Stop having Joe Tessitore, Big E, or whoever with the nervous ass laughs, and just kind of and then not even acknowledging what he says. Now the second go round, I did like the fact that Big E tried to push back a little bit in a nice, professional, very friendly way. But Jesse still was going to the well on that. And it's kind of like, come on, dude. Like, seriously, my challenge to Joe Tessitore, Biggie, you guys need to do a better job. If you get paired up with Jesse, come in with the nice, friendly, witty comebacks. That way you can force Jesse to go in the direction that you need him to go. Great who's house of folks that was there in attendance. So many faces. I actually had to like jot down some of these in my notes here. The beautiful, the lovely Trish Stratus, Booker T, Stephanie McMahon was in the house. Now, as far as I know, we never did hear the Stephanie McMahon story about how she was on the tour bus and she just happened to hear John Cena rapping. Now, we kind of got it a little bit during the Countdown show when Jackie Redmond was interviewing her. And shout out to Jackie Redmond. I hope she gets much needed rest. Her voice was damn near about to blow out and everything. CM Punk, Miz, John Barthano. I always have a hard time. The Punisher dude. You guys know what I'm talking about. Mark Henry, Sheamus, RVD, Corey Graves, Becky Lynch, Cody Rhodes, Undertaker, and like some of these names. Now, mind you, some of these names that I'm bringing up, they filmed stuff that was part of a video package. Want to make sure that that's kind of stressed. But as far as like the people that were actually in attendance, Stephanie, Trish, Booker T, Miz, Punisher guy, Mark Henry, RVD. I'm going down the list here. Michelle McCool, Eve Torres there? I think Eve Torres was there as well. Elias was in the house. Therese Halliburton was in the house as well. And then they combined all these stars. Oh, we kind of zoomed in somehow. Let me see if I can figure that out. So we had all those people that were in the house, and yet we also included some really good video footage from Undertaker, Kurt Angle, who was also there in the house, if I didn't mention it before, Jalen Brunson, Jimmy Kimmel, Logan Paul had a little something. It was really cool how they put all this together. You could tell that there was a lot of thought, there was a lot of preparation, and great execution put into this whole centerpiece theme of celebrating John Cena, right? So everything went so well. Now, remember when I was with you guys on the show for Monday, I told you I was hearing from some of my sources that possibly something might have been brewing for John Cena when he came here to DC. Like I was kind of hearing some rumors about, maybe a keys to the city, or, hey, we're going to make today John Cena Day. I was hearing some type of rumblings like that. I was also hearing rumblings that John Cena maybe was going to do something with Trump at the White House, something along those lines. And I told you I felt just a tiny bit confident, but I was waiting to hear back from some sources. And, I never did hear back from my sources. So if you notice, I didn't publicly put out an official, okay, here's what's going on. But I know there was news running rampant about whether or not Trump was going to be in attendance, whether or not Vince McMahon was going to be in attendance, whether or not Shane McMahon was going to be in DC. Now, look, of the names that I mentioned to you, Trump has been making it be his business to go any and everywhere. Now, I saw some footage online earlier today. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Trump did a coin toss at a college football game. If I am incorrect, let me know now while we're live, or just afterwards. I'll post something in the comments and let you know if I'm remembering it right or not. Shane McMahon, if it turns out Shane McMahon was in the house, I don't know anything about it. I wouldn't put it past Shane. And let me explain to you the reason why. Because out here in DC, Shane McMahon has close ties, very, very close ties to the area. He actually was born in Gaithersburg, Maryland. The hospital that he was born at is actually still there, and everything. So he frequents the area a lot. That's my whole point. I even remember right down to the point both times during the XFL's relaunch. First, well, not relaunch, but both tenures of the XFL. So the initial run of the XFL, he was out here a lot, and then XFL under The Rock when it first actually before The Rock acquired it, Shane was hanging out in our area. And then I believe after The Rock acquired the XFL, Shane was like popping up in the area again. So it wouldn't put it, it wouldn't surprise me if it turns out Shane McMahon was actually there. But no Trump, no Vince. But we did get Vince McMahon spiritually in a great video package that was for John Cena at the very end. Did John Cena look uncomfortable, or did he look uncomfortable when Cody Rhodes and CM Punk entered the ring and each man gave him their respective world championships? And, the message was, hey, don't worry about it. We got it from here, right? It kind of reminds me of my favorite A Tribe Called Quest final album, thank you for your service. We got it from here. That's pretty much what Punk and Rhodes were saying to John Cena. And I guess somebody had the idea and they kind of pressed it upon him. Take the titles and go to each corner and because you're the champ. Cena did not want to do it. And you can verbally see him tell those guys he really didn't want to do it. And they're like, no, go ahead, do it. So he reluctantly does it and all that. And to Grupp's point in the chat, Triple H bald fraud. I need my glasses. Triple H bald fraud. Yeah, man. The minute that Triple H came out with the rest of the WWE roster that was there to gather around the ring and celebrate John Cena, Triple H was booed by us big time. He was booed. And you see Shawn Michaels right behind him because he's literally right there. He's laughing his ass off. And poor Triple H, you're going, like it sucks to be you right now, my dog. And after they did the championship run, way before they did the video package that Cena had saw at the very end, that Triple H, pretty much presented him with and everything. Triple H tried entering the ring. And man, that Capital One Arena crowd, they really chewed him a new you-know-what. They let him have it big time, and rightfully so. There's going to be a lot of discussion on a lot of shows that's saying, yo, did Triple H get this right? Did he book this right? Was it a great ending? Was it it's funny, not funny, but I think about a lot of the shows that were offering match predictions. Hell, I was on this show offering match predictions on social media earlier this week, and I said, yo, there's just no way you can have John Cena lose in his final match. Like, come on, the real story should be, can John Cena one more time, just for one more night, can he become truly the Cena of old, and can he stop this unstoppable force that's known as Gunther that rarely loses a match? Can he overcome? Because you're looking at the fact that, okay, John Cena lost earlier in the year. He lost the World Heavyweight title back to Cody Rhodes. Then ultimately he loses to Brock Lesnar. Wins the IC belt from Dom, but then turns right back around and loses it. And you're going, there's just no way that Cena's going to lose in his final match. Like, sure, pay it forward, but like Gunther's already, like, we know Gunther's going to be all right for many years to come. Like, come on now. And yet Paul Levesque and crew decided, nah, we want to have Gunther go over. I guess they love the idea more of, yo, this guy Cena always says never give up. Well, he gives up. And that pretty much is the final time that we see him in the ring, because he finally gave up. I don't think people would have had so much a problem with Cena giving up if it would have come off more like a damn fight. I mean, really, we got a poll up over at the RCWR show right now, keeping it simple, asking you guys, what did you think about tonight's Saturday night's main event? We kept it very simple for you guys. Option 1, great send-off for John Cena. And then option 2, Triple H messed up, yo. So head on over to Twitter, Look me up at the RCWR show. You'll see the poll over there. For now, I hope you're appreciating this in-depth talk because I know some of you guys are like, well, what did you think about the other matches? Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about the other matches. I'll circle back. We'll say a lot more about John Cena, but just off the break, those are like my instant, but there was so many mixed emotions. I mean, there was the little kid in me that's watching this great back and forth match between these two guys, the ultimate good versus evil. So, I'm almost tapped back into, the 5-year-old me that first began watching wrestling, in the 80s. So I'm going back to that. And, there's a lot of nostalgia that was just happening on all cylinders with that match. And just like I mentioned earlier, so many mixed emotions, so many things running in my head as I was watching this. But we'll circle back and we'll talk a little bit more. Let's talk about some of these other matches that we had on the card. So opening things up, we had Cody Rhodes taking on Oba Femi. That was our opener for tonight's Saturday night's main event. Yo, great match between both of these guys. If you checked out my predictions, I said to you guys, this was likely going to end in some type of interference. And the way I mapped it out, I said, well, not for nothing, but maybe Drew McIntyre does a little something, something. Maybe Ricky Saints comes in there, does a little something, something. And maybe somehow this sets up a tag match between Oba and Cody against Ricky and Drew somehow. So I got part of the equation right? Because I definitely called for, we don't need to see a decisive victor in this match because this is a future main event in the making here. Don't give it away right now, right? Come back to it later and everything. Let this be unresolved. So I like the fact this match ended pretty much in disqualification or no contest because Drew McIntyre got in there and he just started wailing on Cody Rhodes after somehow Cody got busted open unintentionally. So one of his ears, like all of a sudden he's bleeding. This is crazy. The spot that went down there. It's funny too because remember if we were to go back to SmackDown the night before, Cody was looking for Drew McIntyre, but Nick Aldis told him, yeah, he's not here. He's pretty much said it is a unsafe working environment here in WWE. And so you hear that, but then we get that nice little curveball by Drew, right? Oba Femi, pretty pissed off that Drew interfered in his match, chewed into him a little bit. Drew pretty much is like, what are you going to do about it? Well, this is Oba Femi. And man, Drew's a big dude. I've seen Drew McIntyre a couple of times at WWE live events. And Drew is a big boy. But goddamn, compared to Oba Femi, Oba, especially right now, Oba has actually put on, for those of you that haven't seen Oba in a minute, he's put on even more size. He's much bigger than in the previous months. Boy, I love seeing him just push McIntyre on his ass. And poor McIntyre looking shocked as I don't know. I loved it. I ate it up. Drew coming to his feet. Cody coming in there. And pretty much Cody and Oba doing a 2-on-1 combo on Drew McIntyre. And both champions afterwards kind of looking on at each other, kind of realizing, yo, this needs to be continued, obviously, at a later date. But at least for now, there's mutual respect between both of these guys. You can't help but wonder going forward now, the Drew McIntyre effect. Obviously, he's got this program with Cody Rhodes. They're continuing to do their thing, right? Obviously, we're going to see another match play out between these two men. Likely is going to play out at the Royal Rumble, I would think. But then you're also thinking about Oba Femi because now, if you're really taking a step back and you're looking at the bigger picture, whoa, Oba Femi, he may have just won back this NXT championship, but in this same night, that's supposed to be a John Cena send-off, he's made an enemy out of Drew McIntyre, and you just can't help but wonder, if we're going to be seeing a lot more of Drew in NXT, don't be too surprised if Drew McIntyre may end up costing Oba the NXT World Heavyweight Championship, because I have a feeling a lot sooner than later we're going to see Oba be part of the main roster. You can definitely bank on that. You can definitely bank on that. But it ain't over. It's just getting started between Oba and Drew McIntyre. Rest assured about that. And, it was nice seeing this great hybrid integration of NXT, SmackDown roster, the Raw roster, and then even getting a little bit of love there from TNA as well being mixed in here. It was nice kind of seeing all these elements. By the way, how about whoever started that rumor, Wrestling Observer newsletter, about the John Cena match that is supposed to be going on first? Look, I remember when I first heard that. Sorry to be crude, but I'm being honest here. The first thing I said to myself is, why are we going to third base like from 0 to 10 seconds? That defeats the whole purpose of sticking around for the entire show. Now, no disrespect to AEW. No disrespect. No disrespect to AEW. No disrespect to its fans. I know AEW has a tendency to you think that, oh, wow, we're gonna get this great steel cage match between Darby Allin and John Moxley. Oh man, that's gonna be a great main event. I'm looking forward to it. And then the load is blown because that's the first match for the show. And you're like, wait, this is what's opening. Well, damn, how the hell how they gonna so what's the main event? This is WWE that we're talking about, man. Like, we know they're going to do things a little bit differently here, right? We know they're going to do things a little bit differently here. Um, but great opening match between Cody and Oba. Oba, particularly, I'm a fan of his. I see nothing but bright things ahead for this young man. Definitely going to be a future Impact player, big household name, WWE for years to come. He's got a great look. Um, I don't particularly care for his move set. I mean, his move set could be a little bit more. It's very limited right now. Let me put it to you that way. It's very limited, almost limited in a John Cena kind of way, you know. But I think in due time he'll be able to do more cool stuff for sure, for sure. Next matchup on the card. Where are we here? Sol Ruca taking on Bayley. Love this. I told you guys this was going to be my dark horse match of the entire night. As far as like, yo, this should definitely be an underrated sleeper hit. And this match definitely delivered. Sol Ruca is another one that I'm watching going, yo, I see nothing but big things happening for her in her career. She's got one sick ass finisher. I love that finisher. I mean, look, let's call it for what it is. It is a alternate version of a RKO, right? And I'm just waiting for the day. And I hope WWE does this like at the next WrestleMania, or like they got to do this before Randy Orton retires. Because we're on borrowed time with Randy Orton right now. I need to see a segment where Sol Ruca and Randy Orton, they're just dishing those finishers out. Okay. I need to see that because that would be just beautiful poetry in motion there, man. Sol Ruca picking up a win over Bayley. Made a big name for herself, in essentially defeating Bayley tonight. Everything that Bayley has accomplished in her WWE career. Definitely a future WWE Hall of Famer and everything. I'm just amazed at the how gifted Sol Ruca is. I mean, just her athleticism, and as long as she can continue to stay healthy and everything, if I have any concerns about Sol Ruca, My main concern is I don't know if she's going to be able to continue doing that soul crusher finisher of hers for many years to come. That's my only little, because I'm looking at her offense and I'm just going, yeah, it's good she can do that right now. She's going to be able to continue to do that move if she stays healthy for probably the next 7 years, give or take. But, eventually the aches, the pains, like it starts creeping up on you there. You're going to pay a physical toll for that. And so I can't help but wonder how her finisher may adjust. We'll have to just, for now, it's great. It's great what we're seeing and everything. I mean, when you really stop and think about it, you can do what makes her move so badass, too, by the way. It's just like the RKO when you really stop and think about it. It's just like the diamond cutter. Doesn't matter how big you are, how wide you are, okay? Okay? You can just hit that move out of nowhere, boom, and it sells, right? It is a damn good calling card. It really, really is. And it's funny because when you think about Stone Cold Steve Austin, you think about the stunner. When you think about Randy Orton, you think about the RKO. When you think about Chris Jericho, you think about the walls of Jericho. And Soul Ruca, with that Soul Crusher, I mean, man, just it's perfect. It's hand in hand, man. I freaking love it. But yeah, damn good stuff right here. I was actually thinking that maybe Bayley was gonna go over in this one because it just kind of seems like Bayley and Lyra, they've been on a little bit of a bumpy little road as of late and everything. And I was kind of hoping that maybe they were gonna kind of get a nice little rebound here because you're seeing what's happening with the women's division, definitely with the tag team division and all that. And I just kind of thought that, well, maybe Bailey's going to get the W here. They can kind of, use that, right, that momentum a little bit. But the fact that it went the other way and it went to Sol Ruca, yo, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. All right, next up. By the way, I love how they had thank you Cena segments from The Undertaker, The Rock, Michelle McCool, Mark Henry, Kurt Angle, Eve Torres, Trish Stratus, Rob Van Dam, Sami Zayn. It was cool seeing Sami Zayn with his son in the ring there. Not in the ring, but in attendance. That was really, really cool. I even remember there was some video footage there of Kevin Owens as well. So I miss Kevin in the ring, man. Seriously, I miss seeing that dude. You just think that in a perfect world, maybe it would have been a scenario here where we maybe would have seen Kevin and Cena do a little something, something. One of the real coolest moments of the night, by the way, Michael Cole and taking a moment to thank the people that sat right next to him through the years and calling some of John Cena's matches. Oh my God. Chef's kiss, man. Brought up Taz. And just hearing this stuff, you guys got to understand. To hear these names being brought up, it feels so taboo to the ears because under the Vince McMahon regime, hey, they don't exist. And we've seen how Vince McMahon, essentially has altered history, so to speak. It's like, okay, well, this person is now working for this company. Okay, well, we're not going to any highlight clips. We're going to make sure that we don't have their voice being heard by the fans. Instead, we'll do this. We'll splice in this or have this music playing instead. Queen Petty, I know. But Cole took a moment to thank Taz. Also thanked Wade Barrett, pretty much calling the later half of Cena's career and everything. Uh, JBL. And then he also gave a shout out to Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. And you're like, yo, badass. Like, because it's the truth. All those individuals had a part in calling Cena matches and everything. So it was a nice spot to see how all of that came full circle. And then essentially you get the quick 3-second Vince McMahon stockpile footage from many, many years ago talking about Cena. Again, The one and only time they showed Vince McMahon was at the closure of the show during the montage there. It wasn't during this Thank You Cena segment that I was just talking about. Kind of really gave you a complete picture. And it also brings to mind that, you look at where WWE was, those early 2000s. You look at where they were. And I tell you, man, it's just really stop and think about this for a second. Vince McMahon, I'm talking about Kennedy, Hulk Hogan, and then he had, I love Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart. But if we're talking about, who freaking put the company, who carried it, who printed money out the ass, whether you like it or not, Hogan's on that list. And then essentially, after Hogan, pretty much Shawn Michaels, dare I say. Might be debatable, but you could definitely go, Shawn Michaels. Most people would go, Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena. Some people would even go, there's alternate lists, right? There really is no wrong, because it's going to be a different answer. We could ask this question right now. Everybody's answer is going to be different. Now, if you were to ask me, like, how am I viewing it? Vince McMahon, I'm going Hogan. Ooh, this is a tough one for me. But I'm personally going to say Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena, Roman. I mean, you really take a step back and you think about it, though, those are definitely the guys that was, right? But remember, Roman, some could even put a little asterisk by Roman, because if you were to say, yeah, but Roman, he was ice cold there coming out of the oven there, man. It took some years for Roman to really start cooking. Yeah, if you want to put a little asterisk by Roman, you could do that. If that's your argument, yeah. I think most fans would be like, yeah, that's true. But it's nice just seeing, going down memory lane, thinking about all that stuff. I think we got one more match to talk about, and then we'll circle back to the main event there between Gunther and Cena. For those of you that watched Saturday night's main event, sound off. Let me know what you thought about the event. Shout out to Rick. Rick's like, yo, getting my eat on, watching the stream. Appreciate you, Rick, as always. Rick, one of our longtime listeners, supporters of the show. Shout out to Za. No, we're not talking about. What are you kids calling it now? The is that the new weed? You got any Za? You got any Za? You got any Za? And I'm like, what the is Za? Here's the new thing that and I feel like Lewis Black. I just learned about the 6-7. Don't worry, I will never do that again. But I'm like Lewis Black. I'm like, what the, what are you guys are weird stuff that you guys are learning. Seriously. I just learned the little rubber, rope dance. I just learned how to do that finally. And now you guys are like the 67. What the hell? When I hear the 67, I go, what the hell is that? Is that a new form of the 69? Like what the? Sorry. Anyway, one more match to talk about, guys. I know my audience. That's why I'm talking a little crude. So you guys got to forgive me. One more match to talk about, and that was the tag match. Probably one of the shortest matches, it kind of felt like to me, on the entire card here. And that was Dragon Lee and AJ Styles teaming up to defend their tag titles against X Division champion from TNA, Leon Slater, and the overnight sensation himself, the Young G, and Javon Evans. Styles, Dragon Lee, coming up with the victory. And what do I say about that match? I was hoping the match was gonna be one of those 15-minute, 25-minute kind of matches. That's what I was expecting. But from my notes, I had this match over in like 5 minutes. So I was greatly disappointed with how short this match was. Because you just see all these names and you're like, yo, this is going to be so beautiful. Like, just put the remote down, relax. Like, you about to watch a classic right here, right? Um, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was good for what it was worth, but I just was expecting, more bang for the view. And came up way, way, way too short. But all four men, they did pretty good. For the little bit of time that they were on and everything. But I wish I had a little bit more to say to you guys about this matchup. But sadly, I don't. Very short, very short. Like when I talk like this, let me be candid. When I talk like this, my whole thing is if a match is going to be this short, why even bother doing it? Why even bother doing it? If you're not really going to showcase it the way that it pretty much should be showcased, I mean, my God, you're already doing four matches. Okay? You're only doing four matches. What's it going to hurt to, like, I don't get that. Speaking of which, we had a Miz segment. Miz was pretty pissed off that he and he had opportunities, and it just essentially got squandered away. But Miz coming out hell bent, talking about how he beat John Cena. And by the way, kind of funny when they were doing all these montages to John Cena. We keep being reminded as we see Miz with a thank you Cena note and all this other stuff. And yet we've got asshole Miz out in the ring talking about, yo, I beat John Cena. If anybody should be in the main event against John Cena, it should be me. And he actually brought out the jacket that he wore to WrestleMania when he beat John Cena for the WWE Championship and everything. Leave it to R-Truth to come out there, his old tag team partner from Awesome Truth. And basically some Vince McMahon crude humor. Hey, I found out what you did with Nick Aldis balls. And basically, R-Truth, this was really weird because if you blinked, you might have missed it because just the absurdity that was happening during this segment. It'd be enough to make you go, oh, this crap again, and then turn a blind eye. But apparently, what R-Truth was trying to relay to Miz was, hey, you kind of screwed this person out of an opportunity to potentially be involved in the John Cena tournament. And he gave Miz the ball, and Miz takes it out, and he's like, Joe Hendry. And then all of a sudden, Joe Hendry is just right there, music and all, hilarious stuff. Miz pretty pissed off. Uh, you know, uh, Tells Joe Hendry to take a hike, like he's done with all of this silly shenanigans. Truth tells Miz to tread lightly. He doesn't. Tries to take a swing at Joe Hendry. Hendry whoops that ass. That's pretty much it for him. Now we know Hendry has signed to WWE and everything. I can't help but wonder if maybe this is the beginning of what we're going to be seeing for the next couple of weeks, where Miz is going to inadvertently, he's bringing up the name Joe Hendry to make a point and to follow up on the say his name and he appears. It's going to be kind of one of those running gag things that's happening that's going to be driving Miz absolutely crazy. I think this is the beginning of that. So I hope you're ready for that if this is what WWE is getting ready to do. Because essentially, if you are a Joe Hendry fan, yeah, if we can see this guy get more TV time and he can essentially pop up in the weirdest places that makes the most sense without it being spammed out in a way where you're not entertained, you're getting kind of bored. then and I think WWE is going to do right. I think they're going to do it right. Tonight was a really good example of that. Let's go to. I'm just thinking like as far as more stuff we could talk about with Gunther, John Cena, and everything. Again, good match for what it was worth. Lillian Garcia, by the way, looked stunningly beautiful tonight. Congrats to Lillian Garcia, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys had heard the news, but she's engaged. She is engaged. I can't think of the wrestler's name right now, but what I do remember, it's a former tag team partner of Xavier Woods from a good while ago, and not Kofi Kingston. For those of you like Kofi Kingston, Big E, no, none of those guys. I think his name is maybe Zach or Zachary. When I do the Monday post show for you guys, I'll be able to tell you guys the name that I'm thinking of. But yeah, Lillian engaged. Nice dress that she was wearing tonight. She looked awesome. She looked awesome. I was a little surprised to see that there was no Jessica Carr or who is the black female referee? I is it Daphne? I can't think of her name right now. I was surprised neither one of them or even Nick Patrick. I was surprised that none of them were the referee for this main event match between Gunther and John Cena because had they been the referee, I promise you there would have been less yakety yak between Gunther and John Cena. Very annoyed at that and everything. But the sights and sounds from our DC crowd here took this match to a whole other level. This felt like there we go with that damn zoom in. This felt like oh, come on, don't keep zooming in. Come on. There we go. This felt like a WrestleMania type of atmosphere and everything. I loved it. I loved it. Definitely, without a shadow of doubt, the greatest John Cena match besides. I'm thinking about since John Cena has been on this retirement tour. Besides the match with AJ Styles, I am going to say this was my second absolute favorite match from John Cena. My third would probably be the first match between he and Dominic Mysterio for the IC title that played out on Monday Night Raw and everything. I would definitely go with that. Gunther proving once again he's the GOAT. And if you're keeping track at home, Gunther is now 2-0 when it comes to legends, particularly at Saturday night's main event. So heaven forbid you get another legend out there and they end up having to face Gunther. They they might not do that well going up against Gunther. And then here's the dead giveaway that you knew John Cena was going to be losing, which if you have keen ears, you're watching this at home, you heard this, you're going, okay. But still, you're going, should be a fun match, should be a great, form of storytelling that they're going to do here and setting this up. They gave a fun stat right before the match began. They said that John Cena has never lost in Washington, D.C., apparently. And you're like, wait, what? And so when you hear that, you're going, shit. Right? But for what it was worth, this match, besides the finish, it was incredible on so many levels. Love the storytelling aspects of this as well. Yeah, this was good. I mean, really stop and think about that. John Cena has retired Bill Goldberg and John Cena on Saturday night main events. That's just amazing. Seriously. That's just amazing when I stop and think about that. If anything noteworthy has happened during the main event post show, pop in the chat. Let me know because I'm curious, especially if there's like some key information we need to pass along. Yeah, it's just so sad. After it was all said and done, John Cena taking off the wristbands and leave it to some folks out there in the crowd that actually chanted for Cena to take off the shorts. Mind you, these were not women that were chanting "take off the shorts." Now, look, I'll be straight up with you guys, okay? Now, the Capital One Arena, it's you know, let me put it to you this way: we've got DuPont Circle and Adams Morgan, which is very popular amongst the LGBTQ plus community. Okay, here's the thing: pretty sure the men that were chanting to John Cena to take off the jorts, pretty sure they weren't part of the LGBTQ plus community. So you don't know if maybe they are like of that P Diddy joint, if they running with Diddy or right, but try to yell at somebody to take off their jorts. I mean, just picture that grown ass men take off the shorts. Take Yeah, no, no, no. That's guys. To the guys that were chanting that at Cena, I hope your wives or girlfriends or your significant other wasn't like standing right next to you as you were, because I'm just picturing them, and they're probably going, "Yeah, Cena, take off the jorts," because they probably want to see the Calvin Kleins. They want to see, right? They want to see something else. So like I don't think the guys were really thinking that far that we're chanting take off the jorts. That's just me personally. But seeing John Cena, take off his shoes and all of that, socks, and then rolling out and everything, so many mixed emotions. Look, it's not really goodbye, right? But Cena did condition us. He said, "Look, the next time you see me in WWE, I'm not gonna be having the in-ring gear. Like, that's officially over. You're gonna see me in a suit. Anytime you see me, WWE related, going forward, it's gonna be in a suit." And he's already said he's gonna be a ambassador. He's gonna be an ambassador for the next 5 years with WWE. So, that's great. That is really, really great. I think about Cena's acting career and just how he was off to a rocky start. And I know myself and a lot of friends were like, what's this guy thinking? We aren't really, but here's a guy that continued to be very dedicated. He wanted to master it, like every single thing that this man has pretty much set out to do in some form, he's been able to master it, right? And look at where he is now. Hit TV series in Peacemaker. He's got the Wipeout show on TBS. That's doing really good. He's narrating a boatload of car commercials left and right. He's freaking the hefty, trash bag guy. I mean, what isn't this guy doing, right? I mean, he's really become a fantastic actor, I have to say. And it's, as a fan, it's been an honor and a privilege just to be on this ride and just watching him evolve. Not just as an actor, but just as an overall individual. You know what I'm saying? And I always say here on this show, if it's not of positivity, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I've told you guys this, you longtime listeners know this. I've said it many times over the years, right? I want to be surrounded by people that are about doing something, right? Not a handout or anything like that, but I want to be surrounded by people that are all about lifting up the spirits and all of that of their fellow brothers and sisters, right? Because when you constantly look, when it's all said and done, you are essentially of what is around you, right? Think about those external forces, right? How's your community? And how does that community shape you? The people that you know in that community, how do they shape your outlook on life, how you're living, and you know what your friends and family consist of, and all of that stuff, right? And so it's so multi-layered. When I look at a guy like John Cena, there are definitely principles that we all, you don't have to be an individual that's, sick, or have a child that is terminally ill. You can be a young adult, a middle-aged adult, senior adult, and there's just so much that you can take as an inspiration to, let me tell you something. And this isn't me just, I'm being real with you. Take it from me. If I can take a lot of the sentiments, the words that John Cena has put out there over the years, and I can go in my 40s and I can go get my associate's degree from one college, then transfer to another college to get my bachelor's in journalism, which I just wrapped up. I'm getting ready to wrap up my first semester at this new college. So I basically transferred from community to this one. I've got essay finals that I'm getting ready to do. Easy to squash, right? But like all my classes, like I've gotten nothing but A's. One class, just one class, my government class, but I've never been a fan of government. I got like a C. But like, if I can take some of these core principles that John Cena has been putting out there many times over the years. Yeah, I love his words of wisdom too. He always writes some motivational thing every single day. He never misses a beat. If I can learn something about myself and everything, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I still make mistakes, right? But each time I wake up, and it kind of goes back to what Becky Lynch was saying about how John Cena was talking to her about that match she had with Lyra and how it didn't go well and everything. Each new day for all of us puts us in a really great position where, okay, it's the start of a new day. So what do we plan on doing today? How are we going to be a more better version of ourselves than we were yesterday? Right? Always striving for more, never settling, right? It really is never giving up. I have a sign that's in the hallway. I go past it every day. I wrote this many years ago, many years ago. I've even shared this on social media. Some of you guys may recall this, but I have no problem sharing it first thing, like maybe as soon as I'm either off the air or I do the next show going into Monday. Hell, I might post it like first thing tomorrow morning. I have this sign and it says, remember to always stay focused, stay hungry, stay humbled. And man, I must have wrote that on a little squeegee board about 9 years ago. And when I first showed it to my wife, she goes, that's really cool. She's like, I just got two things I want to add to that. I'm like, okay. And so she took the little marker and she wrote, never give up on what your heart truly desires. And I'm like, right. Still on the wall. Like we both go past it every single day. Right. Not to get too philosophical, but I kind of have a feeling, a lot of people, they're just going to kind of go in a more different direction. But like, there really is. I think people that like grew up watching John Cena, y'all kind of know what I'm talking about, right? We're here. We kind of know what we're talking about. Let's go to that poll. Got a poll up at the RCWR show via Twitter. Wanted to know what you guys had thought about tonight's Saturday night's main event now that it's in the books. Wanted to know how would you rate John Cena's send off? Woo wee. Oof. Damn. Two options. Great send off. Triple H messed up, yo. Right now, seeing 6% of you said it was a great send off. Meanwhile, 94% of you said Triple H messed up. I'm just curious if we go through some of the comments on social media. I guess this happened during the post show. Triple H announced that Saturday night's main event, I guess for tonight, was the highest grossing arena event in WWE history, shattering the January 6th Netflix debut gate of nearly $6 million at the Intuit Dome and breaking the Capital One Arena's internal gate record as well for any company. So DC, holding it down. That's great. Triple H tried to rebound too, apparently during the post show as he joined Big E, Joe Tessitore, and Michael. God, who's the guy, the bald head? Not Sam Roberts, the other guy used to do Hot 90, whatever. Triple H said he's disappointed in the booing and thought it would be louder. I'm dead. I am dead. That is good. Just see, trying to see if there's any other comments on here. Some people feel that Jay saying, ladies and gentlemen, tonight professional wrestling destroyed sports entertainment. To AR's comment in the chat when he said, bro, I literally cried watching that. Yeah, a lot of mixed emotions when I saw John Cena just do that nonchalant tap out. I choked up, I cried, and then I immediately, yes, me, grown, like very rare do I cry. The last time I cried was over a year ago when my Pekingese Maggie of like 18 years passed away. Closest bond I ever had to an animal to date. That was my daughter as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I have three little young Yorkies now, but Maggie was the OG, man. That was like the last time I cried. Before that, like legit cried. Before that, whatever year it was that Chris Cornell of Soundgarden died, right? So it takes a lot to, and I don't know, like for me, it was just the first thing I said bullshit. I said, this is bullshit. It's like, how do you have this man in his final match? Like this doesn't, and even if you were to say to me, no, it makes all the sense in the world. It's like, could we have booked it a little better? Could we have put maybe a little bit more effort into this? I don't know. AJ, we are the last generation that believed WWE, a scripted form of entertainment, was real fighting. During that time, for growing children and youngsters, WWE was the biggest TV entertainment next to crickets. Clip collector saying that motherfucker bald fraud is now doing retweets after the shoot booking. Derek wasn't going to drink tonight, but WWE fumbled the bag on John Cena's final match. I'll read a couple of more to you guys. Even Triple H cannot, this is from the Crimson Empire, even Triple H cannot escape the justifiable chants from disgruntled fans. The "we want Vince" chants. Yeah, and look, DC knows, again, it goes back to Capital Championship Capital Championship Wrestling when Vince McMahon Sr. first started, the wrestling and all that out here, and what would ultimately become the WWF and Vince McMahon, like DC and wrestling. We are just, we're ingrained, we are joined at the hip. And so for our DC crowd, particularly to say, yo, freaking, we want Vince, like, that's not a impulse thing. That is not overreaching. That's not being, super sensitive. By the way, little fun trivia for you guys. You know how Vince McMahon's new company is called 14th and I? That ties back to basically out here in DC, and pretty much where the main headquarters used to be for his dad's Capital Championship Wrestling for back in the day. So that's why it's called 14th and I. Look it up if you don't believe me. But yeah, no, I'm telling you, DC, Maryland, Virginia, we are just historian buffs when it comes to our wrestling. We are appreciators of wrestling from yesteryear. So to hear that the crowd said what they said, and they said, we want Vince, not surprised. Because deep down inside, and you can take this universally, deep down inside, many of us have looked at this John Cena run and said, no, if it wasn't for the scandals, Vince McMahon would have booked this much different. There would have been more quality, better quality put into this. And now, let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Allegedly, Brock Lesnar. So let me see if I got this straight. We got Brock Lesnar. Allegedly, he's going to be retiring in 2026. We know for a fact AJ Styles is going to be retiring. He's doing his final year with WWE and wrestling in general. Okay. The rumors are running rampant about Chris Jericho and basically him getting a retirement run in WWE. But with what we saw of how everything was handled with John Cena right on up till the end, I'm very curious to see how my friends in the podcasting world are going to be reacting to this Cena Gunther match. I really hope we did it justice by talking about it, but like, just for the record, I want to make sure that my words are not taken out of context. The match was good. It was good. The finish, very bitter taste. Even if that was going to be the end result, that Cena was going to give up. Yeah, I think about what Big E had said during the Countdown show. He said, look, I don't want to go against John Cena, but I just feel this Gunther is on a whole new other level. I'm paraphrasing, but the one thing that he did say is, yo, I wouldn't be surprised if John Cena ended up with a crimson face. Because this Gunther don't play around, man. Like, this is going to be a tough-ass battle. And even Jesse Ventura was like, you know what? I agree with Big E. I think Gunther is going to win this. So, it could have been done much differently, For those of you that's wondering, maybe there's going to be some type of a loophole, and maybe we'll somehow we'll get to see John Cena at maybe a WrestleMania, or no. It'll be interesting if John Cena will even do something for Saudi Arabia. That's going to be the real tell right there. Like, how retired is this dude? Right? How retired is he going to do something if the Saudi prince is like, I want John Cena, like, one more time, or is John Cena really going to stick to his principles and say, hey, if you want me, you'll get me, but you're going to get me in a suit. I'm not wrestling. I am done. Like, no amount of money in the world. Like, no, right? Cena doesn't need the money, right? It's just the principle alone. It'll also be interesting to see if Cena stays retired. Honestly, I think he will. I truly believe he will stay retired. I would be really shocked to see him get back in the ring and all that. I think he's taken a really good page and has learned what he's been able to learn from peers of yesteryear. That also includes Big Dave Batista and everything. Understand something, folks. Most wrestlers, they don't, sadly, there's no such thing as the perfect send off. There's no such thing as, in today's day and age, there's no such thing as, oh, well, I wanted to go out this way. You know, some people don't, a lot of wrestlers, they don't get that opportunity. So for Cena to be able to have some type of say in how he wanted to go out and everything, nah, you know, I still don't like it. Doesn't mean you gotta like it either. It is how it is. Hey, want to take this time out to thank some of our sponsors because without them, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. I want to first off give a shout out to the good folks over at the I Want to Learn SQL.com, your hands-on gateway to mastering SQL. Whether you're starting from scratch or upgrading your data skills, I Want to Learn SQL.com. Put structured lessons, real world exercises, and clear explanations at your fingertips. Learn more by visiting iwanttolearnsql.com. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is also brought to you in part by Katrina's Spiritual Counseling at katrinaspiritualcounseling.com. My girl Katrina offers tarot and psychic love readings by phone or chat, backed by over 20 years experience. So she don't play around. What you see is what you get, and you get the real deal right here. Her sessions provide straightforward, no sugarcoating insight into past, present, and future questions. Could be love, relationship, work, finances. She covers it all. She also right now is selling seasonal items such as candles, honey jars, and lover kits that's available with same-day shipping. Wow, supplies last. Learn more by visiting katrinaspiritualcounseling.com. Remember, there's two S's in there. Or you could give her a call at 877-275-7562. Both of these cats proud sponsors of the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. While I got y'all here, if you enjoyed this episode, if you have not already, make sure you are showing love and you're liking this. Hit up the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the RCWR show, and subscribe to that bad boy. We're always uploading a bunch of content on there. Good stuff. Good stuff as always. Your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you guys. By the way, just one more time, right? Y'all are never going to see me in this Cena gear again. Just want to make sure you guys get a good look, right? I know you've seen it on your man, John Cena himself, but no, this is the only time you're going to be seeing me in this gear. I did have the wristband, but over the years, because I used to work out a lot back in the day, but over the years, the wristband, the arms, it's gotten smaller. Some people say, nah, your arms are actually still big. No, my arms have gotten much smaller from when I used to religiously work out and everything. But yeah, the full Cena gear, you guys will never see this again. So enjoy it for what it's worth. We had to bust it out. I literally, if you follow me on Twitter, it literally was in its original packaging. So all of this is going to go right back in the packaging. I will never be wearing this again, But yeah, we're going to be here Monday night, December 15th, 2025. After Raw goes off the air. Tune in, do a live post show for you guys. And meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. And once again, it's John Cena. Dude, seriously, as a wrestling fan since the early 1980s. I cannot stress it enough. Thank you. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the wrestling. Thank you for the entertainment. Thank you for being motivational. Thank you for being inspirational. Thank you for paying it forward. Thank you for being so giving. Enough said. Till next go around. Wishing all y'all be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you guys for the Monday Night Raw live post show. Peace.